Mbatre Kabuchewura Baba Mukaterwa wele Hamid Baba Braimah Bamukusuna Trele Alidu. I was born on 6th of August 1953 to a family of Yagbonwura Timu, the first. At that time, I was born, he was Kpembewura. And he had a number of children. At that time, 50, his total number of children was 52 on earth. But as at now, Kabrele Metma Uncle Adunu at the Sananyo, that's 32 children. Almost all above 16 now. I would say the time I really knew my, that's Yagbonwura Timu, the first J A Braimah, was when I started secondary education. Because the time I was born, he was already in Accra doing his public duties. He was the first member of parliament for East Gonja at that time. And I would even like to say that we are lucky to have a father who was the first northerner from northern Ghana to be appointed a minister of state. He was minister for works and housing in 1952, before independence. Some Kanyasuru J A Braimah, but Kanyasura Adama Bitumbe pay after mo kushung ashakra no anyebo kotia wo secondary school. So muki bitu ba mantenchana no moga. His last public assignment, I believe, was when he was Northern Regional Commissioner, Chief Executive, I believe they were then called, that's Buzia regime. He was in charge of Northern Region. It was after the Buzia coup that he said enough was enough for politics. And then again, in any case, he was too old at that time to be sitting with his children's age mates. So he decided to come back home and settle as Kpembewura then. Luck be on his side, he became Kpembewura, but lasted just some few years, either 1 or 2, 1.5 years in Kpembe. He was appointed and skinned as Yagbonwura Timu, the first. So it is during his stay in Kpembe as Kpembewura and later Yagbonwura that I personally got closer to him as a father. I was working then as a first advisor of Salaga Secondary School in the late 70s. So I had some good amount of time with him. But you see, any Timu child who said he was extremely close with our father might be irritating, in the sense that he was a disciplinarian. And for that, we feared getting closer to him, because any small thing one did, you were met with very lion-like shouting that can confuse you the whole day. So as much as possible, we avoided him until when he calls you, ebung trifo fefara kara kulibimu for tamna na halma fo tamne ne etrifuna man yan wor kabure no batermele. But some of them were just normal for a father. It was later we got to know that he was only training us, but we could have learned more from him if he had been a little bit soft on us. But we really feared getting closer to him. But all the same, we still learned a little bit from him not sitting with him one-on-one, no. But he's sitting with his elders and you eavesdropping. Or certain times he can call you when he feels like telling you a story he will do. That was when some of us were then a bit grown, young men. So a little bit of his personal life we got to know. Sometimes our mothers told us to. And most of their stories were on suffering, what they went through with him. Not he as an individual, but what he went through in terms of what politics gave him. The harsh nature of politics at that time. Persecution, backbiting, not saying the truth. So that was what we got up to learn about him. It was later we got to know that no, Yagbonwura Timu, J A Braimah really suffered as an individual in trying to preserve Gonja. For that matter, the Gonja state, even before he got to Yagbon, he did his best. And let me also mention that he became entrenched in native or traditional activities of Gonja because of his early work as a clerk to the Gonja Traditional Authority. He first started in Kpembe after he left those days Standard 7. I think these days that's Form 4. I don't know whether we have Form 4. Now JSS, is it JSS 3 or so? There was no employment at that time, although information gathered was that he was a brilliant student. He had a chance to enter Achimota School then, but World War II broke out when he just completed. So the colonial government, the excuse was that they didn't have enough funds for them to sponsor students from the Northern Territory at that time. Probably it even covered some from the South to attend the then Achimota. So for about a year or so, he was with his uncle's farming until he was picked to become a secretary to the Kpembewura then. From there, they saw his worth and sent him to be the secretary to the traditional council then at Nyange. So from there, that his political career actually started. So from there, mbu fenkanga broni bi bumba kinfne anyi be susu o ngbanyi to adaba ka anyi krachi na e ben ya yile anyi be katelemu e shi parliament. So na belarmu ayo to ndo no mbro na agba ya wu mbo daraja bukushu ni bin tunshun bakaka Nkrumah e form first self government government tana na nyima na independence. Nkrumah ebe key leader of the government business. Ni wo fenka na menye esu ni shi anyi be susu tudu ni team gomna so kibin ki fenka nga ebe kweto so ka kenu bu mo keke wondo na bi tamna na Kabuchewura bi beta Kabuchewura Adama, that's J A Braimah ntanti so ndone fara key Minister of State 1952 nana of communication to amunawo ambuka munbure kuzan kaba ne elir gbagwe resign mpalma kashintin so ya ka ku efi adan fuka kwakwo ne fu fe ga kamal kashintin fe kana fe nchina de bukin kumbu kashintin no kala ko so no kala fe na bunyi kan ba wurfo ne kashintin ba na to fukushun de sa jofo ne kini ka gbagwa ka send ka yirmo resignation letter oh na ga Nkrumah no dey bi kana ko e pil ni no ko de no imu shudunya bu ko wutuna bi kana fa na serious but bakaba ken ko muto emu kulefi but the kine mana inshun minister bu kushun when channel for member of parliament lo hale 1966 school no bon ke boshun at that time na ba Fokker. But Kpembe kushun so no, Savannah Timu, General Ankara, Bumbu, NLC, Nana. Wufuna a mountain yeshi, the Kanakwe Tamu Kini, Yakachin, Tasepe, number Tamu Governor to, but some Kushun Navy on social issues. Kumawana, a workulo, Halamba Louis, Nubuziaba key president, Bakana ya election. But I kini Emmanuel as MP because a Bible, a mountain a Shunlomu Kushunga. So Nubuzi akama amuna muka kemian worfu minister to tamna balef ba mun MP hunting ki sector minister fenka minister of education, minister of health, minister no chef kala MP mo kine man yili. So no boromo northern regional district northern regional chief executive na neighbor regional minister to kuma gwa na lo halpia na achampo amba na ba orobomuku kuma gwana bungan motor ishun gomna buku shun amba ku gomna bu ashun na ba ku amba ku ikine manwura ama kuko fia kini kusunsun bayi ba fin funa na fi kini fa ba sai nan ji nan shirka man to na yawar kuma ba lo hal no Rollins baba to kamala ni kan ere men mu buku fiata bu kamala nana. Well, he told me when Rollins first made approaches to him to come and help form his government, that's the PNDC. Approaches were made to him, and he declined with the sole excuse that he was a bit old for that work. And looking at the then PNDC membership, but for a few, a lot of them were almost like his children's age mates. So he declined being a member. Then the other aspect he told me was that, again, he was approached to go to Mali as an ambassador because at that time they were trying to reconnect the Ghana-Mali Union sort of thing. But he said no. If at home, being at home with a position, I even said no, it was too much for me for my age. What about going to far away Mali? So that one too, he declined. Then one day he called me and told me that, look, what do I see about this situation? Where you will be asked to come and help in governance on two occasions, you decline. And the third one, what do you think they will think about you? When they say you don't either agree to our principles, our method of governance, or what? That was when he was approached again to head the Forestry Commission. Because what he gathered, or what he told me then, was that the Forestry Commission was in a mess. So they needed somebody who was upright to come and see whether he could salvage it. So he told me this and said, well, if I refuse this one, Rollins might think I'm an enemy, or I don't agree with him, or I don't like his government, so I'll take it. So he became the chairman of the Forestry Commission. And he held that position till his death as Yagbonwura, when he was Yagbonwura, I should say. And to a larger extent, there were very sensitive national issues that he was consulted on. When anytime there was an issue, either he was called to Accra, or the then head of state, Rollins, found a way of coming to the north to consult with him. That much I know. So he was somebody who served in almost all governments in Ghana until his death. So on the traditional side too, he did his best. So back in the traditional role, ballet. He was first made Kabuchewura at age 28, the youngest to date. From there, he rose to become Kanyasuri. You see, the Kabache scheme too, it didn't come easy to him. The then Kpembewura, Esanwur for the third, insisted that he was the one he wanted him to be the Kabuchewura. Kabuchewura is next to Kanyasuri in terms of Kpembe our traditional hierarchy. Well, there was resistance, including from him. He too said no. One, he was too young to be a chief. Secondly, his father was not a chief. His uncles, who were by far older than him, were there, and they were not chiefs. So he didn't see how he, a small boy or small young man, would take that high office, and his father would be greeting him by removing his hat. You know, Gonja custom. You have to remove your hat, whether you are an old man and that man is a young man and is chief. So because of that, he can't take it. So it dragged on for a long time. He refused to accept it. But the then Kpemewura to Esanworfo still also insisted. As far as he was alive, he was the one who would become his Kabuchewura. Until they found a way. The Kolonfo chieftaincy became the vacant. And the Kolonfo chieftaincy is an elder within the Kanyasi gates, and to a larger extent the Kpembe division. So his father was given the Kolonfo skins, which therefore meant that the father would not remove his hat to greet him. So that sort of satisfied him away. So he was enskined the child. Well, within the family, it created problems. Some of the uncles did not, senior uncles, did not see how they can take it. So it brought up a very sharp division within the Timu family. But well, somehow we were able to overcome it, and we are all united as at now again. So from there, he became, God being good, before he could move to Kanyasi, where his father would have been forced to remove, they had to greet him again. The father passed on. So luckily, from Kpembe, he didn't stay there as Kpemewura for long. He was asked to come to Yagbon as Yagbonwura. There's an interesting story to this, because I was working when information was sent to him that the position of the empty skin has fallen on him. That was in Damango, to become the Yagbonwura, which he tried resisting. He didn't want to. There's a whole history as to why Kpembe didn't want the Yagbon skins then. And to an extent, Gonja, that's Kagbanya, felt that he was the brain behind Kpembe people not wanting to become Yagbonwura. So they threatened him. Either he takes the skin or he will the skin as the Kpembewura. Kpemewura Timu, the third, because when he became Kpembewura, he used the title Timu the Third, was asked either to accept the Yagbon skins or go back to Kpembe as a commoner, because they were going to take the Kpembe skins from him. And remember, he had already been skinned once when he was Kanyasiwura by Yagbonwura Ewuntoma. So to be skinned the second time, he felt it would be too much for him and his family. So let me be emphatic, reluctantly, he accepted to be the Yagbonwura. I remember the day he was finally saying goodbye to Kpembe. There's some historical story about if you leave Kpembe as Kpembewura to take up a Yagbon skin, you don't come back. So Kpemewura J A Braimah, that's Yagbonwura Timu the third, left Kpembe on that fateful day with tears. The whole Kpembe was thrown into mourning because he told them he was going and coming no more. It was a very sad day in Kpembe. So he took up the reins in Damango, served for I think about 4 years, and also did his best. The Almighty God called him. So, in brief, this is the story of the man J A Braimah.